the true twin flame ascension symptoms. And I'm going to actually distill why these are the true twin flame ascension symptoms, and it should be pretty easy for you to spot the truth. The way that I'm going to break this down for you. First, I will list the signs bullet by bullet. Second, I'll tell you the difference between what you usually hear are twin flame ascension symptoms and the actual symptoms. I'll explain the difference, how you can tell, why it is like that. And it's at that point you should be able to know for sure if these are the true twin flame ascension symptoms. It'll make total sense. And then the third part of this video is the good stuff. I'm going to explain how each of these signs work, how you can tell, and how they're all interrelated. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kurt. I am the world's leading twin flame coach. I've coached over 5,000 twin flame students, and I've got a whole team of people assisting me also. It's a big organization, guys, and we love helping you guys. So welcome if you're new here. You're about to get something that you've probably never heard before about twin flames. This is going to be a very common sense approach, I think you'll find. So here's the signs. Number one, the obsessive thinking. And this one, guys, it's a dead giveaway. And let's face it, it's fucking terrible. It's insane because the obsessive thinking, it's like it's happening to you, right? You cannot fucking turn it off. It is the most ridiculous thing I've ever experienced and painful because, like I said, it's like it's happening to you. You cannot stop thinking. You cannot turn it off. It's like a disease. It's fucking bizarre, dude. And, if you don't know what I mean, then you have not experienced the obsessive thinking. But if you're here watching this video, it's probably because you have, or you currently are. And I think you'll find some of the other things that I talk about in this video helpful on how to shut that off too, and as well as all the other videos that I publish. Okay, number two, the Kundalini awakening. And if you have not experienced that yet, you will. Buckle up, Buttercup. And it's really cool. It's really cool. And there are different kinds of Kundalini awakenings. And I'm also going to talk about why that happens. Okay, number three, you have a deep understanding about things. And this, it tends to come a little bit later, but I made it number three because it does seem to happen to many of us early on, as early as when you are having the obsessive thinking even, and kind of the back and forth with your twin. So that'll be an interesting one to talk about. Number four, a phenomenon that I call the ups and downs, and this is related to what is happening to you metaphysically, okay? You're a three-part triune being, body, mind, soul. And the mind, I'll give you a breakdown, the science-based explanation of what that is. This is what they don't teach you in school. They should. We're going to talk about that today. What are the ups and downs? It's part of the awakening of the metaphysical aspect of you. And this is tied in with, of course, the Kundalini awakening that you are or will experience. It's energetic, and so you're going to get a lot of ups and downs emotionally that a lot of the time seem to happen without any external trigger. They just happen. So we'll talk about that more in detail in the third part of this video. Okay, number five, Satori. And Satori, this actually kind of ties in with the understanding, but Satori, it's like the absence of thought, complete and total inner peace and oneness. That's the best way that you can describe it. Nirvana, right? So we'll talk more about that in the third part of this video. Now, why are these the true signs? Why Mr. Smarty Pants Kurt, you think you're all that in a bag of chips, don't you? You think you got all the answers, right? Who are you to say that you've got the correct answer? There's a million people on the internet saying how this all works and what's the deal with twin flames? Why? How does it work? How do I get them to come back? Why did I meet them? All that kind of stuff. Why should I listen to you? You're just another guy on the internet, Kurt. And you know what? You're absolutely right. And you've got every right to question. You should question me. You should question everything that you see, especially on the internet. Oh my God. But I think what I say in this video and how I'm going to break it down for you, and what I'm going to talk about right now, actually, this is the second part of the video, where I explain how you can tell these are the correct signs, right? What I say and how I break it down, you're going to go, wait, that makes the most sense. That's what I think is the real reason for how you can tell the correct twin flame message or not, is what I'm saying. Although you could look at my track record too. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you just go into the search bar, right? It doesn't matter. Anyway, homepage of your YouTube channel, and you could type in New World All-Star Success Stories, and you're going to get a whole bunch of testimonial videos where I showcase my students, thousands of students. And I'm not saying that to brag. It's just, some people, they like proof. And I think it matters, actually. You look at somebody's track record. It matters. I've helped a lot of people. Now, here's the thing, guys, about this. Here's how you can tell the difference. Because what I'm going to talk about in today's video is experiential. It's soul stuff. There's two things that you see on the internet about twin flames that pretty much everybody gets correct. I will give credit where credit is due. I'm not better than anybody else, guys, but somebody had to figure it out, right? Did Albert Einstein go around telling everybody, I'm better than you? No, he just knew he figured it out, right? Somebody had to figure it out. And I'm not even comparing myself to Albert Einstein. But guys, somebody had to do it. It's the soul, guys. The two things that everybody gets right about twin flames is that you're one soul in two bodies. Okay? Also, you got to detach. And we're even going to talk about detaching in this video. So those are the two things everybody gets right. It's one soul in two bodies, and you've got to detach. So, if you're one soul in two bodies, and we'll talk about detaching later. If you're one soul in two bodies, then that means the true ascension symptoms are going to be experiential, not conceptual. This is what everybody else does when they talk about twin flames. They talk about the twin flame phenomenon from the place of conceptual. And there's a lot that can be said, and I know everybody's just trying to figure out what to do. This is a very confusing journey, and there's a lot of confusion out there on the internet. I'm not criticizing anybody. I know everybody's just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, because this is crazy. Let's face it, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in your life. But guys, it's simple. There's the conceptual, which is the mind, and then there's the experiential, which is the soul. Well, if you and this person are the same soul, right? So what are examples of the conceptual signs that you're going to hear about twin flames, which are usually soulmate signs, right? So for example, you're going to go on a mission. We're going to go on a mission, and we're going to change the world, and we're going to heal everybody, and I got to figure out what my life's purpose is, right? That's conceptual, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that, right? Okay, I've got to do some healing work. I feel driven to do inner child work, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not going to help you with your twin flame, okay? You can do those things, but that's not really going to help you. That's the mind, guys. That's the personality. That's personality. I've got these wounds. I've got these imperfections. I've got psychological trauma, right? Psychological trauma, that's the mind, guys. Body, mind, soul. And I'm not saying not to work through psychological trauma. It can be very good for you. But when it comes to your twin flame, all that matters is consciousness. That's the soul, not thought, not conceptual. The soul is consciousness. That's your twin flame. This is your spiritual awakening. What is spirit? Soul. Consciousness. Consciousness is not thought. You experience consciousness, okay? You're the observer of thought. You, which is a soul, remember body, mind, soul, what is you? What is you? What is self? The soul. You just have a body and you have a mind. But the soul, which is consciousness, is what notices, observes, is aware of concept, the mind, the mental body. Body, mind, soul. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. This is all stuff that you guys already know, right? I always tell people the twin flame journey is really just the true spiritual journey. That's all this is, guys. No new agey, Fruity Loop, fruitcake kind of stuff. And I'm not judging, but you know what I mean by that. Okay, the new agey stuff, the mission, the inner child work, the shadow work, the energetic work that you're doing. That's not it, guys. And that's not spiritualism, by the way. They just put the label spiritual on that stuff. That's really psychology and metaphysics, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that, but that's not spiritual. Spiritual is consciousness, nothing else. The spirit, the soul is consciousness. The mind is thought, guys. So look out for that when you're on the internet looking at twin flame information, okay? There's nothing wrong with those things, but that's not the soul. That's not twin flames. You and your twin flame are the same soul. And as far as detaching, what are we talking about? Transcendentalism. This is ancient Zen spiritualism, guys. I'm not reinventing the wheel. That's why I'm the world's leading twin flame coach, because I didn't do anything new. Everybody thinks I'm some kind of a revolutionary. Wow, Kurt, you figured it all out. Did I? All I did was go, wait a minute, your twin flame is your soul. You got to do soul stuff. That's experiential. It's an experience. It's how you feel. That's why the signs that we're going to talk about today are what they are. They are all experiential. They are things that you experience, things that you feel. Okay? That's the difference. It's not something that I have to do. It's not a mission. It's not, I'm going to fail if I don't get into union. The purpose of meeting my twin flame is for me to be with them. Guys, that's all conceptual. That's rules and structure. That's the mind, right? And I'm not saying that's bad. That's just what that is. Guys, that's new agey stuff. That's woo-woo or soulmate, psychological or metaphysical with the label twin flame on it, right? Now, some of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video, you will see other people talking about, right? And I'm glad that those people are out there. I know they just want to help you, but a lot of them are just not really helping. They're just confusing because they're instructing you on either soulmate signs or psychological stuff that you can do or look for to know if you're on an authentic twin flame journey and what to do about it. Guys, none of the conceptual stuff is going to help you with your soul. I mean, your twin flame. Because that's all mental. And I'm not saying that's bad. And I'm not saying anybody's out to get you or that anybody's doing anything wrong. I'm not judging. I'm really not. I'm just trying to show you how you can tell the difference between conceptual and experiential, right? You're out there on the internet looking for information. This is huge. Huge, 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 huge. This will be a big game changer for you as you're trying to figure out what to do about this journey. So let's get to the 5 signs in greater detail, in greater depth. Okay, number 1 was the obsessive thinking. Now, first I want to talk about why that's happening, and you could even say there's a purpose for it. Now, it is true that when you meet your twin flame, there is an activation, and I really don't like that word, but it really is the best word. The reason I don't like that word is because of all the new agey woo-woo stuff on the internet, which is a religious belief system. That's what it is, and I'm not saying that religion or belief systems are bad, but that's not spiritual, guys. A belief system is a bunch of concepts. That's mental. Spiritualism is the absence of any and all belief system. It's pure consciousness. That's it. Okay? And any belief systems that you have or concepts that you're interested in, you might find that your mind works a lot better for you when you increase the lubricant of consciousness in your life. right? You're a three-part triune being, body, mind, soul. Consciousness is what you are. The mind and body are what you have. And those things tend to work better for you. But I digress. The word activation is just kind of a loaded word. You know, let's face it, like there's all kinds of catchphrases and things that you see on the pop culture version of spiritualism, you know, the new agey stuff. On the internet, the pop culture spiritualism that we see on the internet, which isn't really spiritualism. Again, it's psychology and metaphysics, and I'm not saying those things are bad, but that's not really spiritualism. Okay, so you'll see catchphrases and catchwords like activation, mission, healing, there's an energy activation, and we're going to go to the next highest 5D spiritual realms, and we're going to do the new earth thing, and I'm ascending, and all these things. And people kind of get like lost in the lingo of New Age spiritualism. And what I'm teaching you in this video is not New Age spiritualism. And by the way, and I've made other videos about this, I got to be frank with you guys. New Age spiritualism, first of all, it's not a thing. I don't know anybody that's actually New Age. The only people that I ever see who are New Age are a handful of these gurus on YouTube. I don't know anybody that's really into it, guys. The whole Fruity Loop New Age kind of thing, it's not a thing. Also, and I don't think this would be too hard to believe in today's world with what we've seen going on. I think it's an inside job, guys. I think New Age spiritualism, that whole religious belief system that's called New Age, it's kind of culty. And it's a religion, and I think it's an inside job, guys. I think it's being put in front of everybody on purpose to throw you off the trail of authentic spiritualism, which is what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to address that. So the word activation is what kind of brought me onto this kind of side conversation about New Age. So I just want to be clear about that. Okay, the word activation. I'm not talking about some New Age Fruity Loop thing. Actually, yeah, that is the best word. Because what happens when your twin flame runs from you? It triggers the obsessive thinking. And then later, you're going to start experiencing all of these Kundalini sensations and ups and downs that we're going to be talking about. And it's like you're being carried along through an ascension path and you cannot turn it off. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And it's good. It's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. So yeah, activation really is the best word. Your soul said it's time. Your soul from the afterlife, which is really the before life, you could call it heaven. You could call it the energy part of the universe, right? Dark matter, dark energy, that's what science calls it. There's no Fruity Loop magic, guys. You can actually scientifically explain everything that's happening to you and how reincarnation works and what the soul is and all of that stuff, guys. So get familiar with my YouTube channel or sign up for my paid coaching where I explain all of this stuff to you. Guys, it's not magic. Magic is just science undiscovered. That's all it is. That's all it is. But it certainly is a lot of fun, or, you know, maybe it's really painful right now with the obsessive thinking. So that's why the obsessive thinking is happening. Your soul from heaven, the higher realms, the before life, the afterlife, whatever you want to call that, it's up there managing all of the incarnations that you're living, including you and your twin flame. Your twin flame is just another incarnation of your soul. Everybody, all you guys watching, you already know that the soul incarnates, right? Reincarnation, past lives, that kind of thing, right? You just have two in this lifetime. That's all it is, guys. There's no such thing as time, okay? And the soul said it's time. And that's going to bring a million questions like, well, do they ascend too? There's no they. There's no other. Okay? Each incarnation that you're having is a different experience, experiential experience. The soul, the self, is the experiencer. Each incarnation is a different experience that the soul wants to have. And for whatever reason, you are the polarity in this yin and yang with you and your other self, your twin flame, who is the conscious one, if you will. Your twin flame is more unconscious, perhaps, or subconscious, perhaps. You are aware of what's going on, and you can even shift energetically if you know what you're doing, but they just respond to it. That's how you get your twin flame to come back, by remembering that you are that energy. You are being that energy. You are feeling that energy. You are experiencing that energy. It's experiential. You can't think your way there. You can't figure out how to do this. It's not conceptual. It's experiential. You don't need to look at any traumas from your childhood to do anything about your twin flame situation. Now, that's not to say that you can't do those things for your own benefit, but that's another matter for another day. Now, the purpose of the obsessive thinking, this is an interesting one. It's so that you can remember who you are. You are the consciousness. Body, mind, soul, the self, which is consciousness, the soul, is what you are. You're like an astronaut that has a spacesuit. I have a spacesuit. I am the astronaut. I have a body and I have a mind. So the mind is out there, and you are the self looking at it, and you're going, son of a bitch, why won't my mind stop? I cannot stop thinking about this person. It's not you. It's not I can't stop thinking. It's the mind cannot stop thinking. You noticed that the mind is going on and on and on, didn't you? But did you notice that you are the noticer? Did you notice that? Think about that for a second. No pun intended. Really, I want you to think about that. What is consciousness? What is that which notices the obsessive thinking? And let's face it, you can't miss it. The obsessive thinking is so ridiculous, right? So that's the purpose of the obsessive thinking, is to help you remember who you are. That's this whole journey. That's exactly what this is all about, right? Your twin flame is your soul in another body. So when they come in, boom, there's an activation, which brings me to my next talking point number 2, the Kundalini awakening. Now, ordinarily, when people think of a Kundalini awakening, it's kind of a one and done experience. There may be some reverberations. Think of Kundalini awakening like an earthquake. So again, ordinarily when people think of an earthquake, they think of the big one, right? Where buildings topple over. You know, it's a big one. It's like a 9.0 on the Richter scale, right? So the Kundalini, and it's not a negative experience. Actually, it's extremely pleasant. It feels really cool. And it's a once in a lifetime thing, right? You feel that Kundalini energy rise through the base of your spine, all the way up your back and out your crown. That's a Kundalini awakening. And there's even a biological chemical thing that takes place in your body too. And after that, all of these amazing gifts come out, right? Telepathy, you have a deeper understanding. That's the next talking point. Things that you can't explain. How do I know that? A lot of these things start to come online for you after the Kundalini experience, and it usually lasts anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours when it's the very intense Kundalini awakening, the 9.0 on the Richter scale kind of earthquake. And then there can be some tremors, right? The aftershocks that come afterwards. And so that's traditionally, ordinarily what people think of when they think of a Kundalini awakening. It's your metaphysical self awakening. Now, the other type of Kundalini awakening, which is the kind that I personally had, was a much longer drawn out thing. And for me, it took place over the course of about 6 weeks. And it was a lot of little tremors. I would feel little Kundalini, like more gentle Kundalini risings. And again, this is a very pleasant experience. It feels good. The intense one or the little one, right? So it's nothing to be afraid of. It's not going to hurt you. And these more gentle Kundalini experiences, they do kind of the same thing. They rise up, you feel them move. And again, it takes place over a longer period of time. It's just kind of drawn out over many weeks, but it's the same thing. Now, what's happening to you? Well, let's talk about the infrastructure of the three-part triune being: body, mind, soul. We just spent a lot of time talking about the soul, and we're going to talk about that some more. The body, we're pretty clear what that is. The mind, let's be specific about that. Let's talk about exactly what that is. So the mind is simply one aspect of what is usually referred to as the astral body. So body, mind, soul. Well, let's be specific. What do we mean when we say mind? Because that's a lot of things, actually. So again, technically a better, more thorough, more full term, more all-encompassing is astral body. The mind, the emotional body, chakras, right? Metaphysical energy, telepathy, right? Reiki, kind of that whole ball of wax. That's the astral body. It's the energetic body. It's not physical, it's metaphysical. Meta, which is mental, meta, right? It's your connection to a larger component of the universe, right? The energy part of the universe. Science is just now discovering this and talking about this in our modern world, right? So the dark energy part of the universe, what they call dark energy, which is, I guess, what you would call heaven. It's meta, it's mental, and it's a huge structure of metaphysical energy, right? Metaverse, it's the metaverse, right? And I recognize that in today's technological world, some of the tech giants, they use that word for certain purposes. But, if you're curious about that, just look into the history of the word meta. It's mental, it's numbers, it's concept, it's calculating, right? So it's metaphysical, the astral body. But it's all of those things: thoughts, emotions, right? The emotional body, that's the astral body. That's this component: body, mind, soul. Well, physical body, astral body, or meta body, right? And the soul, which is you. It's the actual self. And interestingly, the soul consciousness is actually the fuel source of the mind. That's why meditation works so effectively. If you take your focus, consciousness, awareness, focus, attention, same thing, different words, take it off the mind and kind of focus on your surroundings instead, meditating, right? That's what over time gets the mind to kind of stop spinning. You take that gasoline off of it. You stop dumping fuel on it and it slows down. So the mind, it's like yourself, the true self, the soul consciousness, is the gas tank that's hooked up to the mental body, the meta body, right? It's metaphysical, physical, metaphysical, and source, right? That's what you are. So that's the Kundalini awakening. And here's why that has to take place. It's because you haven't been using it. You were told your whole life that all that stuff, that doesn't exist. That's not real. There's no such thing as ghosts. You don't have a soul, and that's true. You don't have a soul. You are a soul, but whatever. We understand the inference. Nobody knows what happens to you when you die. There's no such thing as reincarnation. There's no God. Go to sleep, get a job, just watch football and don't worry about it, right? There's no such thing as UFOs, aliens, even though last year they declassified and said there are. I don't know if you guys caught that, but they actually came out and they said, yeah, we know. We know. They even showed the footage, maybe some of you did catch that, of the craft. They call them UAP now, and they admitted, yep, we're being visited and we don't know what they are. They're not from Earth. Have a nice day, right? They just kind of quietly did it in the middle of everything that was going on last year, right? I don't know if you guys caught that, but it actually made major news. It was a little blip on the radar still, but they did actually admit that, no, that's real and we don't know what they are. They're not from Earth. So the system, the establishment, is kind of slowly starting to like parse out, like give us little drops of truth for probably nefarious reasons. But guys, you've been spoon-fed this crap your whole life, right? Yes, of course there's ghosts. Yes, of course you are a soul. Yes, of course life is eternal. Yes, of course there's a God, right? It's the universe, everything that's inside, outside, right? The all, God, whatever you want to call it, right? Everything that's inside, outside the universe, the all, right? God. Of course there is. Hello, it's conscious. It's a life form. Everything around you, the life around you. Okay, of course there is. Of course these things are real. But you've been told your whole life that they're not. And, you know, that, and worst of all, that you are not part energy. There's no telepathy. That stuff is fake. There's no ESP, even though there's a ton of evidence, right? So you haven't been using it. The meta body. It's metaphysical. And it's kind of like when you sit on your foot and it goes to sleep and it goes numb. That's what's been happening. And when you get up and you start walking around, what happens? It feels like you're being stabbed with needles and pins, right? You get the tingly feeling in your foot, right? That's a Kundalini awakening, guys. That's what's happening to you, okay? It's the tingly feeling in your foot after it's been asleep for a while. That's the Kundalini awakening. Okay, number 3, the inner standing. And this one, you're getting information. You have a knowing. And you don't know how you know that you know, but you know that you just know. And that's all that can really be said about it. Let me give you an example. I know that I'm going to be with my twin flame. I know that we are twin flames. It's a knowing. And some people, I've seen people, earlier videos that I've made, they get confused about this, right? About this particular talking point, because your mind is bringing doubt, but then there's an inner knowing too. So yeah, you know that they are your twin flame, but then there's doubt. Well, those are coming from two places. Knowing does not come from the mind, this knowing that I speak of, right? It comes from the self. It's a knowing. And the mind is going, well, how do you know that? And it doubts. Those are two different things that are coming from two places. And that's actually one of the ways that you can tell if this is your twin flame or not. And you're going to start to have more and more inner standing experiences as you release layers of the ego, which brings me to my next talking point, number 4, the ups and downs. Remember, part of this awakening is metaphysical. There's going to be these emotional ups and downs. And over time, the ups and downs get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller as more of this consciousness that is spilling out from within you, like you're an infinite well, because you are. They call it source. That's what's at your core. It provides this lubricant for everything, the emotional body, right? The mental body. All of these things start working a lot better for you. And also, everything makes more sense on a deeper level. That's that inner standing. So now I'm kind of tying everything together. I'm starting to tie everything together, right? The obsessive thinking is long gone by this time. But the ups and downs, guys, it's a natural part of this process that your twin flame triggered. And actually, your twin flame is your soul, right? It's your soul in another body triggering this process for you, activating this process for you, right? And this, by the way, I just want to point out almost everything that we've discussed in this video, by the way, this is what happens in anybody's spiritual awakening. Your twin flame triggered your spiritual awakening, and it's not going to really be any different than anybody else's spiritual awakening. Eckhart Tolle, Jim Carrey, right? Michael Singer, doesn't matter. Any of those people, right? Anybody who's gone through that kind of dark night of the soul experience, which in ancient Zen spiritualism they call ego death. Most people, and I mean almost all, who go through a forced spiritual awakening experience, which is all that's happening to you, they don't meet their twin flame. It's triggered by some other life circumstance. Okay? Twin flame is something, it's kind of a phenomenon that is increasing for sure as the consciousness of the planet is increasing. And you met your other self. You met another incarnation of your soul and they triggered it for you. Okay? So it's a direct awakening experience, but it's no different than any other forced spiritual awakening experience, and they even already have a terminology for it in ancient Zen spiritualism. They call it ego death, right? This is your spiritual awakening, and you just need to treat it that way, okay? So the ups and downs are a normal part of this process, and you may even experience emotional ups and downs, and you will for sure actually experience emotional ups and downs that seem to happen for no reason, no outside trigger. You just feel this sinking feeling of fear in your stomach, for example. And the mind goes, oh, what's wrong? Something's about to happen. And then you go, wait a minute. No, nothing wrong is going on. What the fuck is happening to me? You've got this sinking feeling in your stomach like something really bad is about to happen. It's just a trick, right? The ego, which is an entity, the mental body of the ego personality, is just trying to trick you. Right? It's trying to maintain control of you using fear. And so you're taken through this series of ups and downs, okay? And you just have to kind of flow with the river. You don't resist them. You just don't focus on them, right? You use your meditation practices and your daily spiritual practices, which I coach all my students on, how to get through the ups and downs. And it's not so bad. It's not scary. It's not bad at all. But that is a thing that does happen, right? And you're going to also pass through this experience of like numbness as you're passing through kind of this fulcrum where the mind loses control of you. And then it's like you're past the point of no return once you get through that. But it's kind of this numbness that you experience for just a day or two usually. For me, it was like 2 days. And it's not feeling connected to physical reality anymore, right? But guys, this is experiential. This is an experience. The ego is no longer where you derive your sense of self from, and you are organically taken through a spiritual awakening process. Okay, number 5, Satori. And Satori, again, is, it comes and goes. I've seen them for myself personally. I've had them last anywhere from a few minutes to several days. And the longer that I am on this journey, I am able to kind of coax Satori into taking place for me. And it just does. I just experience Satori. The more present I get, the more still I get. It's like I can kind of coax it into taking place for me. And it's really, you don't force it. You don't make it happen. It's more like just getting really, 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 really good at surrendering and allowing yourself to be carried along by the energy of self, of consciousness. And it's this deep inner peace. It's nirvana. It's pure being. It's like the cessation of all thought and all circumstance. And it's very, very blissful. And you experience pure stillness. And it's like what happens to you when you cross over to the other side, right? It's just like that. That's how you feel all the time when you leave your body, right? Satori. Now I'm going to give you some resources before we finish up here today. I want to thank you for watching. Give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit that bell button when you do. Here are some resources that I always recommend if you're new here to help you with what is ordinarily a very painful journey. Read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, or you can read Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, or you can read both. Another very valuable resource that you can do tonight, do it today. There's a movie on YouTube that you can watch that will absolutely change your life. It's a real game changer, guys. Watch this movie tonight. It's only an hour long. It's on YouTube and it's free. It's called Samadhi. 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 There's 3 parts. Don't skip around. Watch part 1 first, and it will definitely change your perspective on what this journey is really all about. Remember, your twin flame is your soul. You just have to go within and do soul stuff. To detach from my twin flame is to detach from my mind. Remember that. The twin flame journey is really just the true spiritual journey. This is a journey into the true self, and it's not conceptual. It's experiential, guys. It's the journey of the soul, and it's not concept. Thank you for watching.